All right. It is 9:02 on November 5th. We'll call the Wright County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, it looks like almost everybody kind of got that charcoal gray colored suit note, you know. In the dark tones, nobody's wearing colors.
We're kind of blue on this end.
Well, Commissioner Burrell, it is a Tuesday and it's sunny. I think we're going on 3 weeks in a row here.
2 weeks at least.
Or 2 weeks, yeah.
If you need dry weather, just let me know. I'll have my wife take care of it.
Very, very good. So if everybody's got a chance to look over the October 29th minutes, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I will move that, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Hewsome, second by Commissioner Dahlheiden for the minutes from October 29th. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. All right, today's agenda, any modifications to today's agenda?
Yes,
Chief
Mr. Chair.
Deputy Treichler.
If you want to speak to it, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair, and members of the board. Just asking to pull item number A1, the MOA between the Sheriff's Office and the county and the Deputy Association, requesting to pull that for modification of that contract language.
Yeah.
For the consent agenda.
Yes,
So we're going to remove it and then bring it back at a later date?
correct.
Okay, perfect. All right. With that, is there any other adjustments to today's agenda? Hearing none, I will entertain a
So
motion.
moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Dahlheiden to approve today's consent agenda with pulling item A1.
We need.
Or I mean today's agenda, I'm sorry. Today's agenda with removing item from the consent A1. Sorry. Get that right. Thank
Yep.
you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Perfect. Now the consent agenda, which removing A1 has already been removed. I will entertain a motion to approve today's consent agenda unless someone would like.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Burrell for today's consent agenda. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Consent agenda is approved unanimously. We are close to on time. Auditor Treasurer, Mr. Bob Hevola.
Hey, good morning, Board. Hey, just a quick item on the consent agenda. You're going to see a lot of tobacco renewals. November is our big month of renewal of those things. So today I feel more like the introductor. So I'm going to be introducing Matt and Brian for a lot of these items. So the first item on the agenda is to approve a ditch committee of the whole for the redetermination of benefits on some of our ditches. So I'm going to have Matt come up here and walk you through what's gone on and what's going to go on next.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I am looking to schedule a hearing. I know, after the holidays and stuff kind of gets busy. It's in January, I believe is the 14th. Is when we're looking to schedule that. We'll be having informational meetings this month on the redeterminations of benefits for those systems, but due to scheduling with the viewers, I wasn't able to do anything before the holidays or anything. So it'll be a 2-month gap between their informational meeting and then the actual public hearing on that ditch system.
You're just doing the 3 ditches?
They'll all be at once, but they'll each have to be kind of a separate.
Where are these at, Matt? They must be up north.
Kind of the northwest in the county, mostly.
30, yeah, 2 of them are in mine, and one's partially mine in partially Christine's district.
And
Yep.
20.
Yep.
Yeah, just south
Yep.
of Minkin Summers Lake.
Yeah, Maple Lake Township and Carina Township is 20.
A lot of tile on that one. It's a pretty big
Yeah,
system too.
it's a big one.
Yeah.
And those are all, the public hearing is November 6th, or 19th here at the Government Center.
Yeah, that's just the
Informational meeting, yes. Yeah,
So
that's
they'll
it.
hear from the viewers
Yep.
and.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to schedule a ditch committee of the whole public hearing for the redetermination of benefits on County Ditch 20, 29, and 36 for January 14th, 2020 at 1:30 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden, second by Commissioner Potter for the scheduling of a ditch committee of the whole on January 14th at 1:30. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ditch committee of the whole is scheduled.
Mr. Chair, I also take this as a chance, a public service announcement. Matt is dressed casually because he's doing a lot of the technology for the school elections. So I asked him to dress comfortably today because he'll be doing a lot of running, so. School elections are out, so if anybody else.
I thought he was going to be cleaning beaver dams today or something, maybe.
All right. The second thing is to approve Wright County's tax forfeiture land resolution. This is where this Maple Lake Township is taking one of our tax forfeited properties. If you have particular questions, Brian's ready to go over them with you.
Just out of curiosity, what are the Maple Lake's plans? Because it's such a narrow little lot. Lake
have
access?
diagrams
Yes.
or
Yes.
aerials?
Those are lake access
so-
for back lots.
So those three are basically lake accesses in Sherwood Forest, board members, and they've been on and off of my desk for maybe up to 10 years.
I was going to say, I thought we had addressed this
talk
at one
about
time,
this.
and then wasn't there?
There was, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Delighten, there was an attempt to try and get them back into the hands of the homeowners association, which was the owner prior to them going tax forfeit. That never panned out. They just, it's a voluntary homeowners association. They rely on donations from their members. The township finally decided to step up and accept them, and their plan is to maintain them as a use
Public access.
for the public, but mainly for people in Sherwood Forest. There are a number of landowners that are off the lake, and some of them have in their chain of title a deeded access to Maple Lake. So I think that's the reason the township finally decided to step up. And there is one other parcel listed in that resolution, which is a road right-of-way. I don't know if you have a diagram of that one as well.
Yeah,
but
that
it's
was
yes,
that-
it's a little
that
triangle.
push-up.
It's right in the middle of a township road, so.
Yeah. Kind of an odd one.
Oh, yeah, triangle.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Potter.
thank you, Mr. Chair. For the rest of the board, you know that Commissioner Burrell and I are on the tax forfeit committee, and we've been dealing with this the whole time we've been here, trying to deal with the Sherwood Forest thing. There was quite a few anomalies in this that had to be straightened out. I appreciate Brian and his staff's work on getting this done. And I do thank Maple Lake Township for actually stepping up and let's get this one cleared off and off the desk. It's kind of goofy how they are, you know, but it doesn't make sense. They're not buildable lots, so you couldn't really sell them individually to anybody else. And being the fact that they're in the recorded deeds for the back lots of Sherwood Forest, that they have this access, and you have that legal conundrum if you can't get rid of them to just anybody. So I'm glad this is forward here. It's been a long time in coming, and it'd be just one less thing for us to deal with it. With that, I'd make a motion to approve the tax forfeit land resolution for Maple Lake Township.
Second.
Brian,
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Dowling to approve the Wright County tax forfeiture land resolution. Commissioner Burrell.
Brian, thank you, Mr. Chair. There's several of these, they all have to be individually?
Mr. Chair, they're all, or Mr. Chair, Commissioner Burrell, they're all listed in the same resolution, I believe. And I slapped up this map, so they're all 60-foot strips, one here, and one here, all within Sherwood Forest. At one time, I think when they went tax forfeit, they all had the same parcel ID number. I'm not sure why. But, the auditor's office felt it was better to assign them as separate lots since they are, they're not adjacent to one another, so.
But one resolution will take care
One
of it.
resolution takes care of that and the little triangle that Bob
Perfect.
had up there.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So with that, any other further discussion? It's a resolution. I'll start it off. Aye.
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 Resolution passes unanimously. Now we are approving the Wright County tax forfeiture land resolution for St. Michael.
Okay. Mr. Chair, this one, I believe both parcels are in the same plat, that being the Preserve East 8th edition. Actually, Preserve East 8th edition and Preserve East Commercial. In any event, it's a Hans Hagen development, and These were lots that should have gone to the city probably in the first instance. One, if you have the diagrams there, you'll see one is a stormwater holding pond, and the other is basically along Oakwood Parkway Northeast. So they're talking about having that just for public street right-of-way. And the city of St. Michael in particular has been very good about stepping up to accept these lots. In fact, we send them a list. We send each of the cities and township a list every year when we have tax forfeit properties, and they took a careful look and they said, yeah, we need to own these.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for the two
I'll second
tax
that.
forfeit properties for St.
Motion
Michael.
by Commissioner Dahlheiten, second by Commissioner Hewson to approve the Wright County tax forfeiture land resolution for the St. Michael properties. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, thank you, Brian. We've been going through a bunch of these tax forfeit, these holding ponds and outlots and different subdivisions within different towns. Hopefully, we're getting close to the end of these, because there was a whole slug of these for a while when development was going crazy, things weren't recorded properly and dealt with. But I know all the cities that I've been talking to, and St. Michael in particular, in this one, let's just clean these up. You're gonna need these anyway, because if you need to do any stormwater improvement and you don't have ownership of this, you really can't do a darn thing till you come through the process. So own these things and be done with them. So I'm real happy that these are all getting cleaned up. I mean, hopefully it's instead of 50 pages of lists, we're down like maybe 5.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Potter, I have no idea, but I'm sure we'll still have a trickle here and there. And it's as long as development is occurring, a lot of times these end up going tax forfeit if the developer keeps it in the developer's name and just stops paying taxes on them. And they're minimal tax value in general.
And Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Potter.
Continuing idea. These, every time these come up for the citizens out there, they cost, a legal department, auditor, treasurer, just time, just wasted time doing these. It's like a tax forfeit auction. You swear that every time one of those comes up, it's at least $1,000 worth of personnel time dealing with these things. That's why a lot of them that are just, get them off the plate so we don't waste the money of staff doing redundant little issues like this.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussion on the tax forfeiture resolution? Hearing none. It's a resolution. Commissioner Potter?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes unanimously. All right, accept the purchase agreement for land acquisition for County Ditch 10. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. The low bid for the County Ditch 10 holding pond project.
So, Board, I'm just going to let Matt take care of these next two items.
And I did hand you guys out something this morning that I just got from ISG. It's a bid summary memo. Yep. And I'll give you guys another copy of this. Just to make sure.
That's all right, I must have missed that.
Thank you.
I got one.
Thank you.
I did like I read that letter this morning. That was good.
Yeah, so I think to summarize, this round of bids, we actually came in lower than we did the previous round. We don't have that issue with the pond being 30% above the engineer's estimate. I'm very comfortable with the low bid. That includes the cumulative total with spraying and excavation. This time we bid the project using seeding as an alternate. We were having issues. A lot of contractors were coming in really high on the seeding cost, so that gave us an option to maybe look more locally or to try to reduce that cost. You can see in Mark's memo, he does reference that M&M Contractors was the lowest bid, but he does show that Schneider Excavating and Grading came in the lowest for common excavation and all the work on the pond, but they were very high on seeding. So M&M Contractors was about $36,000 for seeding, and Schneider's was $80,000. So that's kind of the decision, is whether or not to go with M&M Contractors at $380,000 for pond construction, or to look at going with Schneider and then to try to subcontract the seeding in hopes to save a little bit.
And what's your recommendation?
I know Mark is really motivated just to go with M&M. It gets really messy if you have a second.
I'm tending to agree with that, yeah.
I,
Because then you have finger pointing. One will say, well, this wasn't done right, that's why I couldn't do.
Yeah.
but there's no guarantee if we bid the seating separately that we would even get, we may or may not save money. So you might get to the point where we did all that work and now we have two different contractors to save $500 or $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one, the only thing that I would consider, we talked about either with the joint position or for Mike was to purchase maybe like a four-wheeler or side-by-side with the buffer enforcement money that could be used for inspections, some ditch spraying. With the cost being so high for seeding just on this one project, and I see a lot of use for having a vehicle that could do some seeding on ditches, whether you do a spot repair, need to go back and reseed it. If that is an option, if you'd like to use that buffer enforcement money, which isn't a landowner expense, to purchase maybe a side-by-side that has the ability to do some seeding, you could potentially have Mike or myself do the seeding after the pond project is completed, and then the landowners would pay for the seeding cost.
That would be far cheaper.
Yeah.
So that would save money in the long run, not just for this ditch, but for other ones too.
Yeah, and I do have something I was hoping to, when things slow down a little bit, to present to you in regards to spraying costs, past spraying costs. I do think there's a lot of room to, improve on those costs. It's been pretty expensive with the company we're currently going with. So I've been working with local landowner or local contractors to try to do that at a much reduced rate. But you'd see from that there's a lot of costs on the landowners for the spraying, and if it's something we're going to be doing every couple of years to maintain our ditch systems, it might be nice to have, a side-by-side or a four-wheeler to do some of the spraying and try to reduce the cost.
But that's another discussion that we'll have to have, probably a ditch committee of the whole, just because even from a staffing perspective, because we've had some great costs just on removing a fallen tree in a ditch that
Right.
given the right tools internally, we wouldn't be charging the ditch $1,500, but it's something that would cost us less than $200 in staff time.
Yeah, and obviously that's a hard line to follow. You want to reward local contractors. You don't want to be doing too much here internally, but I think we all share the same concern is these projects get so expensive for the benefit of landowners with how the benefits are set up on these ditch systems. I would like to try to reduce costs any way I can.
Then the other question I have, the bonus for getting it done early, is that including all the seeding done too?
Yeah, so
that gets a little bit.
And that's the other thing, that bonus due date is, I believe it's the end of June. This pond is a storage water pond, and I think if you had a year like we had this year in June, you're not going to be able to seed the bottom of the pond anyway before that deadline. So they could potentially miss out on that and have to come back at a later date, which could kind of confound things for that contractor. It's not their fault if the weather, we have another year like we did last year. So, but that's the kind of the worry is if you go with a different contractor to do the seeding is, are they going to get in there right after construction? But if we had that maybe in-house or worked with someone that we could line that up.
Because they would not be motivated, excuse
I
me.
was going to say,
They would not be motivated to get the seeding done any early because they're not getting the
If
bonus.
they don't get the bonus, and that's the thing, and I don't want to go seed something if I know it's not really going to take, if the bottom of the pond's wet. I don't want them throwing out, $30,000 worth of seed just because they want to get a bonus, so.
Yeah.
That's one of my concerns.
Interesting little,
yeah. Something to watch.
Commissioner Burrell, are you still inclined to just go with M&M and just use one contractor for the entire project?
I think that is better because you're gonna have, like I said, you get the finger pointing, somebody will say, I went to seed it, I expected a better seed bed, my quote was for totally level, and we had to go in and rework the whole ground, and, it's just, I've seen it too many times where you get that finger pointing, so.
Well, what about Matt's idea about using the savings to purchase some equipment so that we're set up to do some of this ourselves in the future?
And I wouldn't use the benefit of landowners' money, I would use that buffer.
The buffer grant.
But even way, it's still going to save money in the long run.
yeah, Mike can use it for his inspections,
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean, it would get used, it could be something that parks, if they
I'd
need.
be okay with that, and then we would just, make sure that it gets done. I don't know if we have the personnel. It's really not your job or Mike's job, so who's gonna do it,
Commissioner Burrell, I think we have to have a bigger question is even if we purchase it, I don't necessarily know that Mike would be valid to be able to use it because he's not a
can't,
county,
yeah.
he's a contractor of the
No.
county, so.
And then the way we pay him, it's for inspection, he gets kind of a set pay already. So, yeah.
We'd be back to that.
I'm sure Mike would go out and help do some
Yeah.
help not on the machinery, because, yeah, you wouldn't be able to run the machinery, so.
I think you have to,
But I could see Matt wanting to do it a few times just because he likes to play on the mud.
Yeah. I would leave that call up to you, I guess, Matt, if you think it's something that you're interested in doing and whatever.
Yeah,
I think we have to, I mean, there's some logistics that we have to discuss out that just from a personnel standpoint, whether it's something we have to partner with Parks Department to facilitate it all. The question is, do you make accept a different contractor for the project in hopes that we can work out the details for this
Yeah.
seating piece internally?
You talk about the parks. I wonder if the parks doesn't have something already for seating purposes.
could be possible, yeah. I mean, it's about 8 acres of seating, so it would be, to get a four-wheeler, that would probably be the best way to seat it, weather permitting.
That's one of many ditches that are going to be in the next 2-3 years.
As far as that goes too, you could probably get a local farmer to seed it in. I mean, I have an 8-foot grain drill with a grass seeder on it.
And that's the other one, maybe Greg would be,
You could use it, I don't care.
because what it comes down to is the low bidder, you have to come in lower than $65,000 for seating if you go with the low bidder to
I think,
have it
and how
make
many
any sense.
acres is it?
8 acres.
Let's take we'll seed it.
I think we can find something.
I'll run up and plant it. It'll take about a half a day,
Yeah, and that's what I don't know, the logistics of, who can do the work. Seeding, you don't need any, it's not like spraying where you need to do any certification courses and stuff like
And
that.
even if it did need some leveling off, you come in with the field cultivator and level it out.
And that should all be done at the.
Then I would say if you are going to accept low bid, then I would say that we schedule some sort of a meeting as a committee of the whole to discuss the logistics of what approach we're going to go forward with for the future and for this project itself.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could, I know we're going to be receiving the reports from the Ag and Drainage Inspector here coming up in the near future. Maybe at our workshop, we could just touch base and plan our future direction. Perhaps at the 19th meeting, we could schedule either a committee of the whole or a ditch committee of the whole to discuss this overall.
Either way.
Okay, so Charlie, you say we go with,
Maybe just go with what was it, the 3?
So you want to go with the contractor that came in low for common.
For the work,
X,
yeah.
And then without the seating, that
So
would
that would
be Schneider Excavating and Grading Incorporated. So
Yeah.
the third one on your bid list.
so we've all heard it here, Charlie's going to do the seating.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
so then,
I would just say to approve it without the bid alternative of seating costs, because his seating cost is very high. So
Yeah.
you would be accepting their common excavation costs, but not choosing to move forward with their seating price.
I'll make a motion to approve Schneider Excavating and Grading without the seating.
All right, motion by Commissioner
I'll second
Ballard.
that.
Second by who?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Burrell to accept Schneider Excavating for the Ditch 10
So
holding
it'd be
pond
the
project.
315,731.45, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right, is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It is accepted unanimously. All right. Because, it's the finesse game that you play. You want to make sure that there's work out there for the contractors, but then also you want to make sure that we're getting a good value out of the taxpayer dollars. So it's kind of, when the prices get so high on some of these projects, especially in this tight of a labor market, it gets challenging sometimes to get these things done affordable.
Yeah, and I think that gives an option for local, there's the Neaton Brothers, and Delano, there's other seating companies that could come in and do it. And I think we'd be getting right around that 35,000 is what I thought.
It just seems so high. I don't know I'd have to read the specs to see what they're up to doing, but.
Yeah,
And now it looks like, Matt, you brought back the purchase agreement for the land acquisition for the holding ponds.
We need to
On
get
ditch
the
10.
land to do the project, right?
Yeah, so that's why I
Otherwise,
wanted,
it'd be a mute subject, wouldn't it?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the land purchase agreement for the ditch 10 holding pond.
All right, motion by Commissioner Burrell, second by Commissioner Dahlheiden. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Land acquisition is approved unanimously.
But this is going to just, I mean, it's a pilot thing that we're doing out there with, and we're getting a lot of grant money to work on this, but I'm just hoping we really see some results too. That's gonna be,
You know, we haven't seen Matt in 2 weeks. I thought maybe he fixed all the ditches, and, you know, here he comes back with just a whole mess of stuff to work on.
yeah, and I do want to maybe say something on the side. A contractor we've worked with in the past, Nels Kotola, actually just passed away recently, so
are you kidding me?
he just had a heart attack a couple of days
He's
ago.
not that old.
He was like 43 years old.
Oh my gosh.
What was that?
And his father,
Nels Cadillac.
he was a really good guy.
Oh,
I enjoyed
absolutely. He's
working
like,
with him.
do you know
so
when his funeral is, or
I think his wake was today. So,
funeral
but I
tomorrow?
don't know what time.
Oh,
but-
wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, so if you can just, keep in your mind, he did great work, but he was a really good guy to work
yeah.
with, and that's,
Wow,
Yeah, gosh, that's,
43.
yeah.
anyway, okay, well, thank you, Matt.
Yep.
All right. Items for consideration, we're going to set a public hearing for the fee schedule, suggested date of December 3rd at 9:30 a.m. at that county board meeting. Is there any opposition to that?
Hang on here.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing, fees for service schedule on December 3rd, 2019 at 9:30 a.m.
Second.
That,
Motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden, second by Commissioner Hewsome to set the public hearing for the fee service schedule at the county board meeting on December 3rd at 9:30 a.m. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting is scheduled. Next is to schedule a committee of the whole meeting in January 2020 for the legislative priorities with legislators.
Mr. Chair, we've reached out to our legislators. As you know, we have a rather large proportion of them compared to other jurisdictions. We targeted the Tuesdays in January. We had even response on both the 7th, 14th, and 28th. We did just schedule a committee of the whole for the 14th, so I don't know if there's a preference of any of those Tuesdays. Session this year starts on the 11th of February. So you could consider the 28th being closest to session, or 7th maybe a little closer to New Year's,
I think if you go later, your attendance is going to drop. The
potentially.
closer you get to the February, don't you believe, Michael?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because you go towards the end, and they're more likely to be in the frontal lobe when they start
Yeah, they
session.
don't
And
remember.
that's-
Exactly, I
It's a
know.
horse apiece, no matter which way you go.
Go.
Are they gonna remember?
But the demands go higher for them, I think, the closer they get to the 11th, so.
But if they schedule us right away, then
Right.
Yeah, the thought was to get on the calendar early, as it is, as you
The 7th,
mentioned,
I
their
think.
schedules fill up. They're very in demand at that time.
I don't care, I mean, if you want to go the 28th, I'm fine with the 28th too.
What time would that be, Lee?
It's up to you. Maybe we do 1 o'clock on that afternoon.
I'm just wondering, do you have better off, you think you're getting them in the morning, or do you think in the afternoon?
they're not in session, it'll be afternoon.
All right, all right, afternoon? That sounds good,
Once they're in session, then it's
1 o'clock or 1:30?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock on January.
I'll make a motion to
28th.
schedule a committee on January 28th, committee of the whole for legislation priorities with our local legislators.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden, second by Commissioner Potter to set a committee of the whole with legislators on January 28th at 1 o'clock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Committee of the whole scheduled. All right, now we're already to the back end of the meeting today. Advisory updates. I guess we can start in the, anywhere here, I guess. You want to start off, Administrator Kelly?
Sure, I could certainly do that. Board, as you know, it's been a very busy week. We've started union negotiations Friday and continue through this week, and I know some of you have been on that group with the administration staff, so that's been taking a lot of time as well. ERP is in full force with different sessions. Procurement started last week. This week, they're moving to the accounts payable section of it and working through that. We'll point out our ERP administrator, Pete Sorensen, started and jumped right into the fire started on Monday. So he started at 8 and he was in a meeting regarding ERP at 9 o'clock. So it's been great having him on board. A few other things going on, as Bob mentioned, of course, it is election day we have a couple school districts in the county that have school referendums today, so just encourage everybody to get out and vote. A few other things more internal related to the county. We have open enrollment starts tomorrow and closes on the 24th, so commissioners, if you have any questions on benefit things, please let me know. Benefits fair will be on the 7th out at the highway building. Had a good meeting yesterday between myself and Alan and Sarah out at Public Health regarding concept of a dental clinic in one of our facilities and some of the logistics of doing that. We think we may be able to secure some bonding money in the future to help with that project. So a lot of opportunity, more to come on that one. So I think that's all I had as a quick update.
Thanks for meeting with Sarah from Public Health regarding that dental clinic. For the people that don't know, it's not a dental clinic for competing with the other dental clinics around here. It's for the low income or people that are on Medicaid that unfortunately doesn't pay very much, and the local dentists don't want to use it or don't want to take care of it. They will, but they'll only do a few.
At this point, you'd have to travel about 30 miles to find a place that would take a new patient on MA.
Yeah, Coon Rapids, I think, is where my daughter used to have to go. But
There's certainly a great need in the region.
Yep.
And a definite shortage of providers. I know this was a topic that's been on our radar for a while and kind of came up, and trying to find a different way to potentially meet that need. So this might be a great opportunity.
yep, I think it'll be good for all parties involved. Hopefully it'll come to fruition. Hey, regarding tomorrow, we've got interviews in the afternoon, committee meetings in the morning. For some reason, I have a CEGO discussion. Is that tomorrow?
12:30.
12:30.
At 12:30. Okay.
There's a committee of the whole to discuss tomorrow?
Prior to the
Oh, prior to,
interviews.
that's right,
During the
yes.
interviews, correct.
Sorry,
That's right,
I had it at 8 o'clock, so I was just trying to get it figured out
I
here.
forgot that we added that one, yeah. Which is-
It's 12:30 and committee is at 8:30 for us, Mark.
Oh, tomorrow,
Personnel,
committee's at 8:30?
personnel.
Personnel committee.
Yep.
Tomorrow, we have a full committee agenda with our regular
Yep.
committees. Personnel, safety, technology, and then we'll have the committee of the whole, the Otsego item, and then interviews following that. So hopefully we can squeeze that all in and make sure you get some food in between.
And Mark, we'll go right from IT to,
Yeah, no lunch, better bring
I
lunch.
guess I'll be delivering Jimmy John's.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Perfect, I got all that in there, perfect. All right. Any other discussion here? So Commissioner Potter?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yesterday was the Transportation Alliance annual meeting down in Mankato. We had quite a few different speakers between MnDOT. Didn't have a US DOT this time out, but we had a Chuck Michael, he was a Great Lakes Hyperloop. It's about a high-speed, encapsulated magnetic air train. Goes fast. It's futuristic. They've got the little farther advanced in Europe. Made a little bit of a presentation on that. That's a long ways out. Although the U.S. House did appropriate $5 million to study the project, so it's kind of see how it goes there. Did a little forecast with the MnDOT and Met Council. keep in mind Nick Thompson, who's Transportation Service Met Council, he's one we have to deal with down there as far as because our MOU areas. So deal with him. So a couple issues coming up there, and Met Council's got enough of their own problems going on right now. But the idea is we'll find out what the feds on their thing is. There's no infrastructure meetings scheduled for anything. You know, they all talked about that $2 trillion worth of that. It's all continuing resolutions, and that's all they see until the next election, because all their time is taken up doing investigations right now, so they don't have any time to actually do any of the work. So that's all we're expecting is continuing resolutions, which means they just keep the lights on. So any robust infrastructure bill's not happening for the foreseeable future. One of the things that's been perplexing with the bonding tour that they've been doing is the governor and her staff is basically saying they didn't want any trunk highway bonding, just bonding for other things besides trunk highway. That's kind of discerning for a lot of counties there. I know he's getting a lot of pushback on this one. We'll continue to try to have a meeting with the governor and Margaret Anderson Kelleher, but they've been their schedulers have been kind of pushing us away at the point, but trying to get them to understand what the trunk highways need to be funded. It needs to be part of that bonding package. So, and hopefully at the legislative outlook here, we can get some of our legislators to understand that this is important to keep on top of this. And next week, hopefully we'll get the word whether we were successful in getting the $25 million for the build grant.
So that is next week. I was thinking it was October.
No, they said no, it'll be, Congressman Hagedorn was at the meeting yesterday. He's all about Highway 14, so it's like, talked to him before, and, 14 or nothing for him, but that's fine, because that's his district, and that's where he's running for reelection. But the 94, I know the engineering metrics, we kick their butt, big time. So if there's only one project, the only thing I can think of is if the hierarchy in the federal government think that Hagedorn's more vulnerable than Emmer is, they might go there just to solidify it, but that's, hopefully that's politics in play, but you can't discount that happening all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, but if based on engineering metrics and common sense, 94 would just rise to the top. I've been trying to make the case that this piece of 94 gets done, pretty soon everybody else moves up the ladder, because from Maple Grove to St. Cloud is all done then.
Yes.
So at hopefully we'll hear some good news.
Yeah, hopefully. And that'll be next week, you said?
That's what they were anticipating is next week's. Hopefully this is year 2 in a row that Minnesota actually gets some money. 6 years prior to that, Minnesota got 0. Wisconsin got some money once in a while here, but we're 6 years with a 0 here. That's just not acceptable.
Unfortunately, you have to sit there and hold your breath on this project, because, I mean, you wouldn't think so based on, like you say, the traffic counts and all the engineering metrics. You'd think it would be a slam dunk.
Well, the last time out with DC, that was when we were before Anthony Padell. He's like the second ranking person out there, USDOT. He was intrigued by the fact that this last 6-mile segment, 7-mile segment, all of a sudden takes 40 miles of the most congested highway, has all been upgraded. And they like that because they get as much heat out there about projects to nowhere as the state does. Trying to bang for your buck. Okay, here's where it's at. We try to go after the fact that Minnesota's a net payer into the system. We're getting 40 cents on the dollar out of this thing. We're not getting nowhere near our fair share. I mean, we need to get something here.
If we were to get the money, when would that money become available?
I believe that would be 2022 construction on that, because I think it's a little tight to make it 2021.
That's too bad, because they could utilize the existing construction out there to get a better value for the dollar.
Again, you're dealing with common sense.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Granted, it would make sense to do all that. They can borrow ahead on these dollars. Whether that happens or not, if they are successful in the build grant dollars, then District 3 would have to make the call with the mothership down there in St. Paul.
It would make sense, but like you say.
And I don't hold my breath when it's a common sense kind of thing down there. But that's all I got, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Potter. Commissioner Dahlheim?
Yeah, last week, again, we started the union negotiations. I think everything's been going well so far. For the most part, everybody's, has been open to the new comp and class study, and I think it's been going well. Hopefully, it's all locked that we'll have all contracts signed by the end of the year, so that everybody can hit the ground running. And everybody's been extremely impressed with the good job that everybody's has done to, that we got such a great deal on medical insurance this year. And unbelievable, some of them. Can't believe it. So, I think that's pretty much been about it. That's just the union negotiations at this point. Oh, and I did go to the ERP meeting yesterday, and met Pete, and, yeah, I kind of tried to be quiet that morning, but I did put Pete to the fire. I figured since we hired an expert, he better start talking. But he had some really good ideas for just entering in there. He's had a lot of experience with ERP in the private sector. So he was able to answer some tough questions, I think, regarding best practices and stuff like that, which we have somebody that is actually very well versed in ERP. That I think is going to be able to help us dramatically go through the system. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to help a lot. That's it.
Let's just hope the ERP goes forward real smoothly. That's what it's going to be. We're going to have a unanimous support from all staff. They're rightly.
Well, you know, it's going to be a change in the way we do things, and change is always can be hard and bumps along the way. But I think thus far, things have been going well.
Good deal.
Always bumps, though, so.
So last week I had our first scoping meeting with Planning Next for the CMRP group. We have a kind of a tentative scope work that we're fine tuning today, and we'll be presenting it to the Central Mississippi Regional Planning Partnership on Thursday morning at our next meeting. So that will kind of take us to the next part here, where we're going to, in the next day here, try to draft a possible work plan for 2020. So.
And that's at 7:30 on Thursday?
7:30, Sherburne County Boardroom.
Also the workforce breakfast, or not workforce, excuse me, the economic development breakfast, isn't it, Mike, on Thursday morning at 7:30?
Which one?
The economic development
The
breakfast.
Friday?
On Thursday, did I have that right?
What have I got here on Friday?
Workforce
Oh,
in Annandale?
oh, okay. Because there's a meeting here. Oh, that's next Friday.
I say, I don't have anything for,
Okay.
all right, perfect. All right, but that's all I have, onward, upward, so.
All right, I was at the City of Annandale council meeting last night, and one of the things they discussed is they're having a public hearing on the Tobacco 21 in December, and they are looking at recommending the ordinance that we have, following the same guidelines. So, and I believe that the City of Buffalo is also doing that. I haven't talked to them specifically, but I don't know where Howard Lake is at. City of Howard Lake with their own PD, where they're at, but anyway, yeah. And we had the law library last week, and Administrator Kelly was there also. We approved the 2020 budget. We also approved adding 8 hours to the office tech's position. He is currently at .4, and that would move him to, I don't know if it'd move him to .6, so
0.6,
the
yeah.
law librarian is at .6. They essentially share the position, or not specifically, but so it's staffed there 5 days a week, but one is there 3 days and one 2. So this will give them another time for overlap. I mean, Clean goes to a lot of meetings, and so it will be, make sure that they get staffed, and they're very busy. So we also looked at their layout for the new spot in the in the Justice Center, and they're pretty excited about the move, and so things are going well. They continue to be very busy there, so help a lot of people with all kinds of things from child support to divorce to everything, probates, everything. So it's a great service. That's it.
Okay. And I had Wright County Fair Board meeting last night. The 2020 fair is going to be July 22nd to the 26th, and it's going to be the 150th Wright County Fair. So
Really?
hoping to do some special things. If you guys have any great ideas, make sure you share them. And
Well, I don't know, how about water, one of those dunk tanks with Commissioner Burrell? I think that'd be pretty special, wouldn't it?
you could raise some money, huh?
Yeah.
Lee, did you get them on the workshop?
Yeah, I have a list
Okay.
of updates.
We do have some issues that we want to bring up with the rest of the board. Some preserving some of the pavement and doing some work up there. There's actually some safety concerns. And also, if we do a little bit of investment now, it could pay off bigger later. So hopefully, we can talk about that and maybe have Virgil or Chad there as well. Okay, that's all I had.
You're doing you're putting out this next week's, the 12th workshop?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna be all day.
Yeah.
I seen that list on that for that workshop. We might have to go into 2 days.
Dude, it's my only item I put on.
I know, I realize it.
What time are we meeting?
Oh,
At 9 o'clock?
It might be good to put it at 9 if we're going to
It
have a
would,
longer
because we've
list.
got Health and Human Services at 1:30, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna be pushing hard to get
Yeah.
everything done by
If we-
1:30 on that workshop, so.
So the workshop at 9 o'clock then?
Yep.
Okay.
Because I know at one time we had stayed
Said
at
it for 10, but I think we
Right.
moved it pretty much all to 9 o'clock,
Yeah, there's been so much on there that,
and even,
Okay.
all right.
You said we have HHS at 1:30?
we do
Yeah.
because we're closed on the 11th.
Oh, I had
Veterans
it
Day.
on the 11th,
So,
okay.
Yep. And then a couple of us have union at 3, so it's going to be a full day.
I got it fixed up, thank you.
All right.
Anyway, that's all I had.
Is there anything else then? If not, Brian?
I don't know if this has been publicly noted at prior board meetings, but wanted to advise the board and the public that Bill McPhail, who was Wright County Attorney up until 1990, passed away, and his visitation, I believe, and memorial service are next door at Peterson tomorrow, I believe, from 4 to 8. Bill was a guy that hired both Tom Kelly and myself back in the 1980s.
We're not going to hold that against them.
After being defeated in the 1990 election, he went on to work for another 20 or 25 years at the Stearns County Attorney's Office as a felony prosecutor, and just retired, I believe, in 2015. So had a long career as a public employee, both elected and in Stearns County. So just wanted to make sure that was
Yeah. Thank
out
you
there.
for noting that, and he was also in a band. I remember seeing him, perform with his band way back. That was,
Longtime Wright County resident, had lived here since, I want to say, the early 1970s.
yeah.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
He was a good guy.
Is there any other business to attend to yet today? If not, I guess we'll adjourn at 9:50.